People around here know me as Toddzilla. Here's a story for you. In February of 2012, I got the shock of my life. I started having chest pains, and they got progressively worse. To make a long story short, old Zilla had 100% blockage in one artery and 90% in two others. The two that were 90% blocked were crisscrossing at the constrictions, making it an absolute life-threatening situation. The doctors told me, "We're going to have to cut your chest open to save your life." It hurt. I had quadruple bypass open heart surgery. And I'm not that old. As you can imagine, it kind of takes a while to heal up from something like that. The only thing I could really do was sit on the couch all day. The doctors gave me a 10-pound weight limit, but luckily, my favorite guitar was 9.5 pounds. So I started writing songs, and I wrote some more songs. And I called some friends over and I wrote songs with them. I started digging the way these songs were turning out. I wanted to do something with them. So that's why I started Funkhammer. Well, hello, I'm Toddzilla. Says so right there. When I started this project, I knew I wanted it to be a trio. I wanted something stripped down and powerful, an efficient band that could go play at a moment's notice. See, for the last several years, my band has been quite large, with a horn section and go-go dancers and a lot of extra instrumentation. And while playing with a band like that is an absolute blast, the problem is that these days, it's so expensive to travel and the venues are so much smaller that there's not a lot of opportunities for a band like that. So my answer was to strip it down all the way and make a trio. But with a trio comes a whole new set of circumstances and challenges. As the front man, I really got to hold a lot of it up. That means I not only have to execute on this thing, but I have to engage the audience. I have to keep my eyes up. I have to sing really well, because the delivery of the songs is all on me. For most of my musical journey, I've been the guitar player that wrote the songs for everybody else to sing. But now, it was time to step to the middle and step up. Now, playing and singing at the same time have never been a problem for me, but learning how to juggle those responsibilities and separate the part of the brain that plays guitar from the part of the brain that remembers lyrics and sings them, that's taken a lot of focus and a lot of hard work. But now that I got my legs up under me, and I've been doing it for a while, it's pretty obvious that's where I was supposed to be all along. I've known Philip for a long time. He played in other bands that played with my band, and he guested with my big band a few times. And I knew what he could do. I knew that he was an amazing talent, and I was really, really glad when I called him up that he said he'd love to do it.
I met Toddzilla late 90s, I guess. He had this big funk family, like this Nashville's Parliament Funkadelic, if you will, called Jones World. And he was like this larger-than-life guitar player that was crazy with these crazy licks and, you know, crazy dress and all this business. And so it was a little crazy, obviously, because I said crazy a bunch. So he had his spell, quotation marks, spell. He called me up and said, hey, do you want to be a part of this? I was like, cool, man, let's do it.
Philip is a monster drummer. Monster. But the best part is, he has no idea how good he is. None. Sometimes in rehearsal, he'll do some crazy drum lick or something, and then afterwards he'll be like, did you hear that thing I did? But the thing is, it doesn't come from an egocentric place. It's like he's as surprised as anybody that he was able to pull it off. The rest of us, we're not surprised.
We're in rehearsals and he's leaning back and his feet come off the ground while he's playing. And
his expressions crack me up. He's not there. He's in a different place.
Eyes closed. What drummer does that?
I can't say anything that I don't want going to his head. How's that?
Dude, he's a homo. It's a little disturbing. I mean, it's tough to have rehearsal when you have a restraining order against somebody. So, I mean, it's a good thing he's got a wireless, because he needs to be 50 feet away from me at all times.
I say nothing about Philip's talent. Philip's talent speaks for itself.
Well, there you go.
When we started working together, we started with a different bass player. But he had to move to Washington, D.C. for a job. Without blinking an eye, Philip said, hey, no use crying over spilled milk. Let's find somebody else. And I got a guy. That turned out to be Golden.
Well, I knew Golden a long time ago. We used to practice in like the same storage kind of area. He played in a band called Return to Self. And I knew that he played a 5-string Warwick. And I always wanted to play with a bass player that played a 5-string Warwick, because he got into that the same way like I got into my Orange Counties because of 311 and that kind of influence.
From the first song we played together, there was an instant chemistry between us.
We stopped, collaborated, and listened.
Okay, so I get a phone call from Philip. Hey man, you want to come hang out? Me and Zilla are jamming. It's got this funk thing going on. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And he's like, I'll send you some tracks, you know, decide what you want to do or whatever. I got sent Lord Have Mercy first, and I remember showing up to practice and Zilla saying, what do you want to do? What do you want to do first? And I was like, well, Lord Have Mercy struck me pretty good. Let's play that. And we played through it, and it was instant funk. We played through the song, and everybody played through the song as if we'd been playing it together for years. And if that isn't chemistry, I'm not sure what is.
I think everybody in the band is so different, which is funny because we all fit together so perfectly and randomly.
Yeah, we're like from completely different universes,
Yes.
all of us.
Yes.
Even with different opinions about everything.
Everything.
It's kind of like when you go to one of these restaurants that have all these different dishes and you find cocoa, you know, and peppermint in the same dish, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good. I never thought about putting that together.
Having that kind of chemistry is helpful because you don't have to worry about what the other guy's doing. You can feel comfortable in your part and feel comfortable in your own shoes because you don't have to worry about what the other guy's doing because you know whatever's going to come out of their hands is cool too.
And I think we played with in the band long enough together that we kind of get where the other person is coming from or knows what the person can do, like not necessarily their limitations, but their bag of tricks or, you know, that kind of thing.
The thing you got to have in a trio is every member's got to be flat bringing it. And I don't think that's a problem in this band.
You feel like I had this little extra part here, it's going to sound cool. You don't have to worry about it just totally crashing and burning because you play together. You don't play at each other, you play together. It's chemistry, it makes us.
Philip and Golden wanted to play together for a long time, and they had a lot of the same musical influences. But the trick was, Golden is a drummer. He has a degree in music and percussion. I tell people, Funkhammer has 2 drummers. We just have one that's a badass bass player too.
It's rhythm meets rhythm.
As Philip likes to call him, his hetero rhythm life mate.
Wow.
Because of Golden's background as a drummer, he and Philip can communicate at a really high level. And the way that they can lock in as a rhythm section is pretty amazing.
Also being a drummer myself, it's a lot easier to play with a drummer because you understand what they're going to do before they do it, in a sense. I've gotten to know Philip's style really well. I understand what Philip's about to do before he does it most of the time, and when I don't know what's coming, it just makes me laugh because it's usually good, and it's hilariously good. He just plays 8 million notes that somehow lands on one, and I go, what? What just happened?
Boom, chick, boom, chick. But doing like 3 booms and then a chick, or waiting the chick and then a half a boom, and, you know, kind of, yeah. There was actually a study done that I read a paper on about how drummers' brains fire differently than everybody else's brains. And there's something about like the natural movement of time and fluctuations and nature. And
the awareness of wavelength.
Yeah. You know, some really deep philosophical, metaphysical shit.
It takes them no time to work out parts that are just locked into each other because Golden knows where Philip's going to go. He understands. He speaks the same language.
Also, everybody else that I've played with has been like a guitar player that plays bass, not a drummer that plays bass. That plays bass kind of thinks more like a percussion player. So
I think it's a trust issue. I trust you.
Wow. Yeah, that's heavy. I don't know if I can handle it.
Be careful with it. It's totally cool.
Alright.
I trust you.
Lockbox.
I know when you're going to do something in a certain way.
That makes me predictable.
No, but I am the key to the prediction.
So anyways.
I'm Gozar.
So you're like Sigourney Weaver and I'm Rick Moranis.
Yes, we both turn into dogs. Just look over there. That's Mount Rushmore.
Wow. I see Jefferson Davis.
I think I'm related to him. Yeah.
I like
polyphony.
I like turtles.
It was Philip's idea to bring in girl background singers, probably because he knew I was going to make him sing and he didn't want to do it.
I like boobs too.
So,
But it turned out to be a fabulous idea because it adds a different dimension to what we do. It's not just 3 guys banging away on their instruments and screaming at the top of their lungs. The girls make it more musical. Rudrani is like a force of nature, as a person and as a singer. She has a lot of power, a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion.
Do what I want. I said I do what I want.
Brooke, on the other hand, has a very elegant and pretty voice. It's kind of like lace that goes over top of everything else. And even though they're very different, they have a really unique blend that I think definitely adds to the sound of the band. They bring a lot of energy to the stage. They have synchronized moves that I think harkens back to old Motown. And the way that they play off of each other really brings a lot to the band. I think having them there takes it away from standard old trio of 3 guys. You have something that's a little bit unique now.
I liked it when the girls showed up because it gave me more room to explore what I'm doing in my bass world. And they're phenomenal singers. They do their dance thing over there that I try not to look at too much because I lose focus.
So the girls, I had initially envisioned as, like I said, like a backup thing, but it kind of evolved and it blends well. And like I said, it allows to do 4-part, even 5-part if and when I grace everybody's ears with my angelic singing voice.
Z has an interesting approach to the guitar, and it's a mix of things that I've heard, but it doesn't sound like the things I've heard.
As a guitar player, I just do what I do. My influences should be obvious. Somebody told me one time that I was the child of Eddie Van Halen and Prince, and that Jeff Beck and Billy Gibbons were my uncles. I'll take that. Basically, I just take those influences, chuck them in a pot, stir that sucker, and whatever comes out is me. But I've always been a song guy. I believe if you ain't got a song, you ain't got anything.
Not only did Z come up with really cool lyrics that have a double meaning in a lot of cases.
That have a lot of meaning.
He brought in a lot of nuances that I really miss in music, especially today. And that's what's making it so fun, and that's what's making it so infectious.
What I like about the songs is every song has its own creative nuances to it, something different. I mean, every song in rock music right now has, somewhat of a formula. You can't get away from that. What makes a song different and a song something fresh and new, and what these songs are the creative nuances that happen within the songs. The different sounds that happen from the different personalities.
So that's what gives us like the hammer, right? That's what it is. Fucking hammer, right? So it's like the funk and then the hammer, but it still works because it's still funky. I mean, even though maybe the bass is a little bit crazier or something, I mean, it's still 2 and 4, maybe with some beat displacement or on an upbeat or something to that effect, but it's on the one.
The songs we have for Funkhammer, I think they're great. Certainly the best I've ever written. I don't know, maybe it's everything I went through. Some people say that in order to play the blues, you gotta have the blues. Well, maybe in order to find the funk, I had to go through the funk.
The first time that anyone sees the band, where does he get his suits?
It's usually the ladies. Every girl's crazy about a short dress man.
Why do I wear the suits? Because I look good, baby.
I did ask how many suits he had. I think he lost count. But he has those suckers custom made.
Custom made, and they
Extra long jacket.
absolutely.
That's the Toddzilla style.
absolutely with the shoe and the shoes.
Shoes are fabulous.
If you've been in Nashville, you've seen Zilla before. You know Zilla is. The best way I can tell this story is to give a friend's account of this. Because I walked up to a buddy of mine, he was a singer in an old project, and I was like, hey man, I went and jammed with a new project today, or last night, or whenever it was. And I'm like, it's pretty fun, I had a good time. And he's like, oh, who's it with? I was like, do you know a guy named Todd Austin? And he looks at me and goes, you're not in a band with Todd Austin, you're in a band with Toddzilla. You cannot look at this band and say that Funkhammer doesn't have something unique about it. I just drooled when I said it.
Indeed. But everybody in their own right has such talents and abilities. And everybody seems to play off of that and appreciate everyone else.
And so when we did our band photos, we got everyone set up at the studio, lights set up, put everybody in their form. I had the remote in my hand, click, go to look at it. Wow. We're done. We're all so hot, done, first shot.
Yeah.
That's our promo shot, first shot.
We're not in ball caps and, and dirty t-shirts.
Yes.
So, anyway.
It helps that we're all extremely good looking. I mean, it really does.
Beautiful people. I'm just saying.
I really like when everybody's got their 2 cents in and we're all agreeing on the color of the change.
Sure. Well, no, it works because it's still fun.
I had to pick a good 3-piece to play with. I picked a good 3-piece to play with.
Somebody asked me, what are your goals for Funkhammer? I don't know. But I would like to bring some of the fun back to rock and roll. These days it seems like everybody's either angry or whining about something. I got nothing to complain about because I'm still here. I'm too pretty to be mad.
You can't just stand there and watch. You really can't. You have to get up. You have
Your
to
foot will
dance.
stop moving and your shoulder stop moving.
Yep.
And, yeah, like that.
And then you're gonna go home and you're gonna be singing the songs.
Yeah, I think that was probably Ajax, because this happened the last time I snorted Ajax.
Alright.
I've heard that guys like women with big noses.
You should just. You know what they say
Exotic
about
looks.
you know what they say about
Yeah,
women
they're
with big
exotic.
noses? They have big boogers.
Really? I thought you were gonna say that big tits, and I was gonna say, well,
that seems to be happening.
That's the director's cut.
Playing in a band with my wife sucks because you know how tough it is to pick up chicks at a gig now? Impossible. Thank you. No, but I kid. So we have a musical household anyway. She's always singing and doing music videos in the car and dancing, and it gets on my nerves. God. Debbie Gibson will come on and she's like, electric youth, and like dancing all up on me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Tiffany and New Kids on the Block and all that stuff. It's awful. Can you stop, please? But I put up with it because I love her, and she looks ridiculous when she does it. But it's funny. It's a good time. I usually laugh until I pee myself. Cut. Edit. Set the scene.